Hey, what's up, guys? So this is gonna be a new thing. Um, Starting a bunch of different things right now, and this section will be just ascension tips. Where I guess more focused and aligned to raising our frequency, right? Things that we can do. And sometimes we might find ourselves in a place where we don't know what else we can do, but we can always we can always change the way that um, we can start planning. We can start planning things out in our mind. We can start looking things at things properly. That way, we already have like a game plan, like formulated in our mind for whenever the resources or whatever it may be becomes available to us, right? But we're gonna touch briefly upon the things that we consume, right? What should we start with first? I mean, we can start with the food, right? So we might not be able to afford to go like full organic, right? But we can do things like use the Yuka app, and we can start scanning the stuff that we are going to buy anyways, right? And start making wiser choices. It's choosing a brand, it's seeking out a brand that offers the similar product but a healthier version of it. It's being aware and conscious of the harmful things that we consume and put into our temple. It's recognizing our body as the temple that it's meant to be, and it's learning to honor and treat it as such. But it all starts with awareness, being aware of what we consume, right? It's understanding the numbers on all the fruits and vegetables. Like anything that starts with a 4, bad. 4 is GMO. You want things that start with 9s or 3s, or there's numbers that mean all different things, and that's going to be a whole nother section of things that we go into. You can start looking into alternatives. Different ways to substitute for, because it's all we become accustomed in a habit to eating like fried food and stuff like that. So we can start doing things differently. We can start using like coconut oils or avocado oils. We can start using oils different than the oil that we put in our fucking cars. And it's nice to be able to talk on somewhere like this and talk freely and not have to worry about censoring myself or putting a mask on because it's going to get banned or flagged, because fuck their censorship. It's the truth. The motor oil we put in our car, it's no different than the oil that we're pretty much frying our food in. And then we're going to put that into our temple. And you think that's how our temples should be treated? No. I'll tell you what, when I stopped eating all fried food, I tried to celebrate with some fried wings, right? I tried to celebrate. And, oh, that was a huge mistake. My body instantly rejected it. It's like, what the fuck are you doing to me? And that was just confirmation to myself that, yeah, I'm not supposed to be doing that. I was on the right path. I was being led to go and be vegetarian and cut this stuff out, and for a reason. And your body will tell you, but a lot of times we're so accustomed to the poison, we're so accustomed to it, and it's not even that, we crave it. A lot of it, we crave it because they make it addictive. They make the poison very addictive, and so we beg for it, we plead for it. Please, may I have some more of that poison, it tasted so good. Oh man. But 333, that's how they have us tricked. That's how they have us. It's sad. But it's being aware. It's being aware that we used to fry our food in lard. It's being aware that we got out of it. And for what companies lobbied for it? What companies benefited from it? What companies still benefit from it? That's all things to be aware of. The things we consume. Let's talk real quick about people selling their souls. We have people that advertise products, but they'll never touch it. They'll never drink it because they know it's harmful. A big one being like energy drinks. Like you see those videos of the NASCAR drivers, and they'll pour the energy drink out, fill it with water, then they're going to sit on camera for their PR stunt. It's stunts, lies, deceit. They even know it's harmful, but they're going to sell their soul for a price. The choices we make. It's not, the things I speak about aren't very popular. The things I speak about put targets on my back. They don't make me friends. They put targets on my back because it's taking money away. From who? From the liars and thieves and deceivers? Fuck them. Fuck their profit. It's been going on for too long. Way too long. But we've legalized it. But it's FDA approved. Yeah, yeah. FDA approved. What a joke. Biggest joke. What a joke. It was 53 when I said that. 53, 8. Money. Money. That's what it all comes down to. You know, but it's so crazy, like how we've gotten so far off track of what we used to eat, what we used to consume, and then now there's no real nutrients into it. It's all poison, 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 poison. Is what poison tastes better? What poison do we prefer? I really don't care for poison, to be honest. I have no taste for it. At one point I did, but I outgrew that. I outgrew it. You know, but it's nice because it's a change. It makes my brain expand because I have to, well, I don't have to, I get to look at things differently. I get to face new challenges of trying to find substitutes that are similar. Because it's all about, we become accustomed to it, so we like it, right? And so, I don't know, it's kind of like like a personal goal for me to sustain and fulfill the same wants that I had, but in a healthier way, in a way that still treats my body like the temple that it's meant to be. And it's, it's challenging, but it's also rewarding and it's interesting. It's a journey, and I'm enjoying it. I never thought I never thought I would stop eating bacon to begin with. That was the first thing. Pork, cut all pork out because pork's the worst. That was the first thing I cut out. But then it was after the pork, I slowly cut out all meat. And then, you know what I mean? Well, it was all fried, and then it was all meat, right? To the point I went full vegetarian. Full vegetarian. And it was so to the point, too, where I was just in my studies. I wasn't even, I never really ate 3 meals a day. I always kind of intermediate fasted. It was just the way I operate. I don't know. Just has been like that. But they, we got to the point where I wouldn't really, I was going to the gym and studying, and it was just go, 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 go. It's whenever I was always studying, and then I would stop my studies to go help someone with this, and go do that, go take care of this, go take care of that, then back to my studies, then back to this, then back to that. I hadn't even touched my video games for a while, which is interesting too, because I saw something that was talking about how it actually helps to expand your, something about brainwaves or something like that. It's keeping it's active. You know what I mean? But too much of anything is not good. Too much of anything. Too much of getting sidetracked is not good as well. But we'll go back to the food. But it's, being aware of the food that we consume. It's being aware of it. But the Yuka app is very helpful. It's very useful, because you can use it on everything. And even toothpaste and deodorant and stuff like that. It's very useful. I wish I would have known about that sooner. But hey, I'm here to share that information with you. But being aware, yeah, I never thought I would cut bacon out. Bacon was there's so many parasites in pork and sushi. Some of the most parasites. So if you consume those things, you definitely have them. But if you've never done parasite cleanses, you definitely have them too. Western medicine doesn't talk about that. And anyone talks about, a lot of our problems we have are from parasites. It's from mucus. These are all things that Dr. Sebi talks about, Dr. Barbara, but these are the people that get silenced because they're the ones that are speaking the truth. And so you want to find the truth. You don't look who's broadcasting it the loudest. You look at who's being silenced. You look at who they're trying to shut up. That's who you should probably pay attention to. That's where the truth lies. That's where the truth lies. But, what we consume. But we might not be able to afford to eat healthier in certain ways, but we can start seeking out healthier alternatives, right? And then, clothing. We might not be able to afford to buy all new clothing, right? We might be shopping at the thrift hand store anyways. But we can at least make better conscious choices. We can start seeking out things that are 100% material, 100% cotton. Like linen's the best. Linen, there's healing power in linen. That's why they used to have it in the hospitals, because they understood the healing power of it. Just like they used to have the sunrooms, and they got rid of all that. And the frequency healing. They got rid of all that beneficial stuff. Like they left us. They were so thoughtful, and they left us with all the poison. And then we cured their poison with more poison. And then we either barely stay alive to keep coming back for more, or they make money off of us croaking over. It's a fucked up system. It's a fucked up system. You know, and no one tells you the truth because they want to make a profit of it, because telling the truth isn't profitable. It's it's a health concern to yourself, because people pay a lot of money, a lot of evil's done to support it, to keep the system running. But the clothing that we wear, you know, we can start seeking out clothing that's 100% materials. You know, we can start staying away from, you know, we work out, right? But we need to stay away from the athletic wear. The athletic wear has a lot of the plastics that absorb into our skin, our cells, our largest cells, and we absorb it all. You know, it's all the fluoride and everything that's in all the water. You know, we can get shower filters, you know, for the shower heads, because that's our biggest skin cells, and we absorb it all. You know, it's crazy, you know. And then even with just washing our vegetables, we wash our vegetables, but what do we wash it with, and what's absorbing into our vegetables? And so, okay, we're washing away the pesticides that were sprayed onto it, but what's absorbing into it on top of that, it's just, we're just fucked from literally every single fucking angle, it seems like. But, you know, and it's all out there, but it's all been broken up and displaced and put here and there, but intentionally, and it makes it hard to put everything together with all these rules and regulations, and you got to follow. You know what's interesting too about that, and I don't want to get sidetracked too much, but it's interesting. You know, we used to drink out of copper, right? We used to do everything copper pipes in our house, copper, healing powers in copper. You put copper pipe into anything with still water, and no algae will grow. Our pools used to have copper instead, but then we mandated for chlorine and this and that, and then we have to test for it. And if you don't get the test and do this and comply, if you don't comply, you won't get your certification, and then you can't. It's just money. You don't need a certification to throw a fucking piece of copper in there and there's no algae. But then, you know, you throw in, it gets more complicated when you throw in businesses and stuff like that, right? I understand that, but it all goes back to corruption and greed and money. But the water that we consume, you know, hydrogen water, some of the best water that you can consume. But then it's also H3Os. Our body really needs H3O. It's not H2O, it's H3O. It's the water it's the liquid that's inside fruits and vegetables. That's what our body really craves. That's what our body really needs. That's what we should be consuming. You know. But then it also gives our body a break. It gives our body a break from breaking stuff down. It's liquids a lot easier to digest. And so you're also not supposed to be eating and drinking technically at the same time. You're supposed to drink first. You know, you drink first, digest it, then you eat your meal. You don't drink it. You're not supposed to really technically be drinking in between that either. So they say. You know, but the clothing, you know, and a lot of times, you know, if we're not wearing grounding shoes and we're not going out and grounding all the time, our energy is probably off, right? And it's also doesn't help that the clothes we wear makes it more, it doesn't help us, it makes it more chaotic, right? With all the different frequencies in there. 14 breaks down to 5, change. They switched it up. You know, the Bible told us, the Bible even warns us about the dangers of combining different materials. And by, you know, man wants to play God. You know, man wants to think they know better than the Creator. And, you know, we alter things, and we look at we were eating all these plastics. It's plastics everywhere. A lot of there's some of the even fruits, they're not real fruits. It's plastic. And then the meat, it's lab grown, and it's glued together. And some of it's not even, so some of it's us. You know, some of it's fucking shit's crazy. Shit's crazy. It's very important to be aware of what we're consuming. But it's what we consume without even being aware of it too, though. It's the clothing that we wear that we absorb, not even knowing it. that absorbs into our temple. And then we never do, spiritual baths. We never do detoxes. We never pull the heavy metals out. We never pull the plastics out. And everything's cut up on plastic cutting boards and plastic shavings, and we consume that. And then plastic, coatings over the apples so that they appeal to who? Who's it appealing to? Who's it appealing to? Consuming those plastics that they don't even tell you about. It's even when you try to go healthy, it's you have to be cautious of that as well, because the healthy stuff isn't even healthy. It's poison as well. It's interesting, the poison apple. Yeah, it's interesting. Really interesting. Bill Gates, evil man, evil man. And it's interesting too how we live in a society where they treat us like our basic rights aren't our basic rights. It's soon they'll be trying to tax us for the air we breathe. They're trying to train us like they treat us like water isn't our right. They want to tap into all of our resources. Well, a lot of it are blockade off. The natural resources get blockaded off, and they get labeled as some sort of like government zones or this or that, military. That way people can't come in there and they can't get free access to the water. And then they try to control the supply of it. Then they can make it seem like a scarce thing, just like diamonds or whatever else, lie they want to make it seem like it's scarce. These things aren't scarce. The only thing scarce is, it's there's nothing scarce about it. Nothing. They make it seem limited, so then they can try to control the value of it. But it's all deception. It's all an illusion. It's all an illusion. And they sell us pipe dreams and make us think, well, we're sober. Selling us pipe dreams, making us think that we're sober. But when the clarity you get when you start cutting the stuff off, when you stop, you wonder why a lot of our food isn't allowed in other countries, all the dyes and stuff like that. When you start eliminating consuming the food dyes and stuff like that, but then you got to be aware of the natural ones too, the bugs and other stuff that they use that they use as food dyes that are natural, right? And you got to look into the amount of poop that they allow, or feces that they allow into like coffee grounds and stuff like that. And so you learn the importance of grinding your own coffee, getting the full beans. It's crazy who decides what's acceptable and what's not. What amounts of what poisons are acceptable for us and what's not. And then not even informing us about that. And then, using big words and confusing us. Words, spells. You got to break free from those spells. And, a big part of that is breaking free from our addictions to these foods, our addictions to consuming, our addictions just to buying and spending, but it's also the way we look at things. It's the way that, you spend money on the better products, on the healthier products, because you're putting an investment. You're investing into your temple. If you're going to make any investment, you should be investing in yourself first. And just trying to think clearly, it's learning about, the different things that will help with your brain function, lion's mane. It's learning about all these things. Mushrooms are so amazing. There's so many different types and so many different ones that are good for like so much. Very crucial. For a lot of brain stuff, very crucial. But there are also a lot of substitutes for meats that we can use. And that's something that I want to get more experimenting into. One, because I'm intrigued by it. Two, because I want to, Well, yeah, there's some food for thought. Just, that's one of the first things I recommend people is just quickest way. Well, it's mandatory. It's mandatory. It's step one, cleaning up your vibration. Raising your vibration. It's cleaning up your temple. It's being aware of the trash that we put into our temple, and then cleansing it out. So you got to start somewhere, and why not make it today?